Hello everyone, my name is Summer Waller. I am in English 3311 this semester with Dr. Kinsley. I have my Norton Anthology of Poetry turned to page 1488, and I am going to briefly analyze Dream Variations by Langston Hughes. So during Hughes' lifetime, we have women getting the right to vote, the Great Depression, World War II, and the Civil Rights Movement, and he was primarily focused on depicting Black life in America during this time. So one of the first things that I noticed when looking at Dream Variations is how similar the two stanzas are. It's almost like reading the same poem twice. Or maybe like having a recurring dream that is slightly different the second time it comes around. So the poem begins, to fling my arms wide in some place of the sun, to whirl and to dance till the white day is done, then rest at cool evening beneath a tall tree, while night comes on gently, dark like me. That is my dream. The first thing I want to point out is how we learn right away who the speaker of the poem is. The second to the last line says, dark like me, and knowing that this is Langston Hughes and that he was predominantly writing about the lives of Black Americans, we can assume that that's who the speaker of this poem is, and that's probably about as much as he wants us to assume. There is nothing about it being a man or a woman or an older person or a younger person, and I believe that is intentional so that he can show us that what he's writing about is a feeling that would resonate with all Black Americans and not just one particular kind of person. And the speaker of the poem is dreaming. They're dreaming of a lifestyle, or at least a day, in which they can fling their arms out in some place of the sun and just whirl and dance all day until they are wonderfully exhausted and the night just gently comes and drifts them off into sleepland. I think we all get images of frolicking in a meadow, of dancing on the beach all day, just a life that's happy and carefree, and because it's a dream for the speaker of the poem, likely the opposite of the daily life of the speaker. So we can infer that the daily life might be something more like a laborer, especially reading the fourth line that says, till the white day is done, which makes sense because during the time this poem was written, all laborers were living a daily life that was predominantly controlled by white people. And we get the sense of one of these day laborers who never gets a day off, never gets time to themselves, just dreaming of having a day off where they have nothing to do, no responsibilities, but to be happy. So the poem continues, to fling my arms wide in the face of the sun, dance, whirl, whirl, till the quick day is done. Rest at pale evening, a tall, slim tree, night coming tenderly, black like me. So what makes these two stanzas so similar, actually, is the use of anaphora, which is a repeated phrase or word throughout a poem. And as you can see, a lot of phrases and words are repeated within the same order in this poem. And I believe that so the reader can make the connection between what might appear to be two separate speakers having two separate dreams, but as implied by the title, is more likely one speaker having two very similar dreams. The second dream appears to be less whimsical, less carefree, and so we can imagine that it's more grounded in the speaker's reality. The speaker still flings their arms wide in this poem, but it's in the face of the sun and not in some place of the sun. And in the face of sounds a lot more aggressive. It sounds more like someone who is being upset by the heat of the sun and throws their arms up in anguish, rather than someone who's basking in the sun's warmth. After this, we have the line dance, whirl, whirl, and the use of exclamation points here makes this sound like much more of a command and much less like actions that the speaker wants to do, which gives the reader the impression that this dream that might be more grounded in reality might be the speaker exploring feelings of being made to dance by his employers or his impressors when he doesn't want to, versus being able to have that choice. Though a tall, slim tree is much more easily taken as a metaphor than beneath a tall tree in the first stanza, so it could also be imagined that this second dream is less grounded in reality, where the speaker is in fact a slim, dark tree, perhaps twisting and turning in the storm or oppressiveness of the white day, but is ultimately always held down by its roots. Potentially a reference to the African roots of Black Americans that they are forced to forget, but so strongly affect the course of their lives. Another important contrast to note in this poem is that of the hot, chaotic day full of dancing, whirling, and busyness, and to the cool, tender gentleness of the night, which the speaker notes is dark and black like themselves. This might also be an allusion to the roughness of the life Black Americans were made to live, which likely contrasted with the kindness and the gentleness that Langston Hughes knew them for. It does seem that the overall theme of this poem is contrast. The big contrast being highlighted being the life that somebody wants to live or feels deserving of living with the life that they are currently living. And this contrast is especially highlighted because in keeping the syntax of the two stanzas the same through anaphora, the reader can pick apart the subtle differences in the diction.